All right, Michael, this is a tough one. The first one, a lot of fun talking
Yeah.
about Bitcoin, crypto, comparison to first-time home buyers, all that fun stuff. But now let's get to the matter at hand. War still happening in Ukraine. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of progress there being made in actual real peace talks. So we've been calling for quite some time, both you and I, a 0.5 interest rate increase. We're getting close to that meeting, my friend. What are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, I hope peace breaks out now.
Sure.
Whenever you watch this, I hope we have peace.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, we also have to realize that we just had a CPI at 7.9%. We just had
it.
Oh, that's true, because I did the math this morning, just correcting for the error in rent.
Yeah.
It's 11.2.
Thank you. Thank you.
11.2.
Yeah.
11.2.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 11.2.
Yep.
And we had consumer sentiment this morning, which is the lowest since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And if you happen to be old enough like me and you were around in 2012 sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah.
So to think that we are back there when supposedly the consumer is strong, we have all this money in the system. It's yeah. I think we're a house of cards. I think the house has termites. I think there's a lot of bad things coming. My hope is Jerome Powell raises by 0.5 point. Yeah. I kind of have to say this at this point because I've been on it for 6 months. I was early, then I was right, and now almost nobody's calling for it, but I'm not changing my tune. So yes, I think the Fed needs to raise rates. Will they raise rates? Needs to, will they? Different conversations. Mm-hmm. I suspect that Jerome Powell is going to raise a quarter. He has to raise a half. He is going to raise a quarter. Mm-hmm. Some people are calling for 0. I don't think that's an opportunity. I don't think he does 0.
No.
And now for the people that are like, a half won't mean nothing. Yes, it will. What the Federal Reserve needs to do is they need to shock, scare, take power away from Wall Street.
Yes.
So part of me thinks Jerome Powell is playing 4D chess. And part of me thinks he's setting up Wall Street for a surprise or a rug pull of a different nature. And if he's doing that and he does a 0.5 point, I am going to scream for the hills, you genius young man. However, I think he's just going to wimp out and he's going to give Wall Street what it expects, and that's a quarter. And that's going to be such a shame because, again, I will go back and say we have 11.2% CPI. And if you think gas is a problem last month, it went up 60 cents at my gas station in 3 days.
So what are you paying?
Almost over $6, $6.09 as of this morning.
Oh, so I do have a question about that. And that is, so, well, I do agree with you. I think that 50 is needed. I think that 25 will likely happen. I think he's a stud muffin if he does 50. Yeah, I think he's too much of a coward. Yeah. And so, but I think that, and again, this is not a political statement. This is as we run our businesses, right? Mm-hmm. When we run our businesses, the whole goal that we always have is to never be single threaded.
Oh, of course.
We're never getting all of our data from one person. We're never getting all of our information from a smaller set, right? We have a wide variety, a wide network that we're constantly talking to that give us a lot of perspectives. And then from that comes typically a direction that's occurring. Mm-hmm. So the reason I say all that is because I think far too many people are being bamboozled into paying $6 a gallon for gas is patriotic.
Well, so, God, so, in today's social media world, this artificial intelligence world, if you let it take over, it will force feed you one side.
That's right.
And I have family members who are force fed one side, and it has gotten so bad that it's hard to have a rational conversation. Something I have taken great care of for 30 years before social media was a thing is I want both sides.
Yes.
Because I believe the answer is in the middle. It's not in the standard deviations.
Nope.
right? Your 2 standard deviations from the middle, you might be right, but the odds aren't good.
Right. Agreed.
Right. It's like going to the roulette wheel and picking a number versus red or black, right? The odds are just different. So I want to be in the middle. And I purposely read what I consider crazy things on the left and crazy things on the right. Crazy blue, crazy red. And it is hilarious for me to read how they could take the same thing, change a couple of words, and make it different. That's why I spend so much time trying to stay in the middle. So yeah, we will see a talk track over the next several months pay up because it's patriotic. We can afford it. Let's Russia bad, US good, right? It's frankly, I remember duck and cover from grade school.
Yeah.
Because Russia was going to send, nuclear bombs our way. I remember duck and cover. What the hell is a little wood desk going to do against a nuclear bomb? I have no idea, but
Just
I remember
the ceiling from falling on you.
Yeah. I mean, I remember duck and cover in like grade school, like kindergarten, first grade. So I get it, right? When I was 7, 8 years old, Russia, the Iron Curtain, bad. US, good, right? Rocky, good. Dragov or whatever his name is. Drago, bad, right? I mean, I've been indoctrinated in all of this. I think the world is far more nuanced and complex than that.
I agree.
But where I'm going with this is there's going to be a talk track now around gas specifically.
Yes.
That you have to watch for. It is going to be said that it's a Putin tax. And again, I watch the market every day for 30 years, folks. Gas has been up about 100% in the last couple of years because of inflation.
Correct.
Putin did his bad thing. And of course it was bad. It was horrible. It was atrocity, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is true, but it happened 15 days ago.
Right.
Not 2.5 years ago.
Correct.
So Putin's tax might be the 60 cents I just referenced, but it was still up 100% of what I was paying before. So don't fall for it. We have an inflationary problem. We have too much money being printed. We have too much spending. Our government just approved $1.5 trillion of pork to be spent. We have a spending problem. There's too much money chasing too few goods, and you can see it in fuel. You can see it in food. You can see it in rent, and it is going to get worse because they're not done spending. This is bad. Don't fall for it. Yes, we are in a very bad situation in the last 60 cents. Putin tax. Fine. Mm-hmm. But that's the last 7 days. What about the last 2 years?
Right. And the reason I really wanted to bring this up was because you're having to pay it now because bad decisions were made over the last year or two regarding energy policy and how we manage things.
Yeah. In energy, renewables, all of these things, it's called the long tail.
Yep.
You make decisions today, you don't see benefits for 10 years. And guess what, folks? Politicians are elected every 4 years. That's so right. It doesn't behoove anybody to make an investment that they're not going to see the benefits of. This is why companies who are publicly traded act differently, because they are judged every 90 days. And a CEO doesn't want to make a capital investment that the next CEO will benefit from. This is the same nonsense in politics. And we have made some horrible energy policies, left and right, red and blue,
yes,
for decades.
Yep.
That got us here.
Yep. What I really want people to consider is this and these tactics will lead and lend themselves to what they're going to do in housing to make everybody feel good.
Dude, did you just see what they're going to do in California? They want to tax you another 25% on flips.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, 25%. So this is what's going to happen. If you don't own your house for 3 years, you're going to be called a flipper and tax you 25%. So a couple of things. I did 56 flips the last couple of years. I went back and looked at every single one of them. 46 of them would have no chance of qualifying for financing. So 46 properties would have fell to nothing. Would have evaporated. I bought houses where my repair and remodel budgets was 2x, 200% bigger than my purchase price because they had to be torn down to the studs.
Right.
First-time buyers don't have that scratch.
No.
They have 3.5%.
Nope.
So I created first-time home buyer product. You idiots in freaking King Newsom. He's no longer a governor. He's a king because he's under these freaking emergency powers that he's never going to give up because he's a king. he's just going to make affordable housing worse because he's not willing to solve the problem, because it is a long pole and he gets elected every 4 years and he won't be able to benefit from it. So he's going to go get some BS talk track about, let's go get those flippers who are making it impossible. You're just going to take more and more inventory off the market. The 10 properties that would have been total destruction, I'll just keep as rentals. Thank you very much.
That's right.
It's, I mean, just nonsense. Don't listen to the politicians. They want to be reelected. It's just like a CEO of a public company. They want to keep their job and their golden parachutes. They are making poor decisions because a politician has a 4-year history and a CEO has 90 days. It is a horrible decision making process.
Well, I mean, when you look at, Xi and you look at Putin and you look at the things that they've done, right, with a 20-year lead time or a 25-year lead time, you can really set yourself up pretty nicely.
Well, I'm not going to talk about Putin at all because he needs to go away.
Agreed.
But Xi, I mean, he does 10-year plans.
He does.
That's his shortest plan, 10 years.
Correct.
There might be, there's, trust me, if politicians were elected for 10 years and then maybe another 10 years, they would act differently.
They would.
I don't want that to happen. That's not a request for 10-year terms. I'm just saying, when you can act with 10 years, think about it. If Trump or Biden or Bush or Clinton, trying to go back as many presidents as I can, had a 10-year horizon, what would they have tackled in the first 2 years? Because they would have seen, oh, when this comes up at year 8, 9, I will be going up for re-election. God, think about the investments they could have done. It just would have been a different ballgame. This 4-year term, when it takes 8 or 10 years to do things, is very different.
It is. Yeah. And that's why you see a lot of these, CBO studies. Well, 10 years, it's net positive. It's like, this deal is going to be dead if the guy doesn't get reelected. It's going to be
complete nonsense. The next guy will kill it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So like I said, I appreciate you taking us through it. I wanted to talk about rates a little bit, because it doesn't impact us. It does affect us. But yeah, what's going on in the world right now and kind of the process by which people are going through this, it concerns me because if you're really doing the math like you and I are doing, it's 11.1% inflation.
11.2, but
11.2. Yeah, it's not 7. It's not 7, 8. It's not 7, 8.
Did you see that Janet Yellen finally had to come out and say the average American is going to have to suffer through another year of uncomfortable inflation? Like, what kind of crap is that? Uncomfortable inflation.
Yeah, she won't be feeling it. That I can promise you.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah,
she's not feeling it. Well, Michael, thank you so much for the time. Where can everybody find you, my friend?
One rental at a time.
It is there. It is great. 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time on Saturdays. The live stream, it is fantastic. I'm almost always there. Dion's almost always there. Yeah, it's great. It's a blast. It's great to see what other people's questions are having. We get a lot of things that we want to talk about the next week there based on what people's questions are. So as I always tell you, we like to spend a bunch of time creating great content for you. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, forward. If this is something that you think somebody else really wants to understand where we think rates are going, it's something that I think is a pretty important video to watch. So you can always find me, Lumberjack Landlord, on YouTube and Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram. Mike, thanks so much for the time. See you in segment 3.